Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Title IX was a landmark civil rights law. It helped create the incredible breadth of women's sports and girls' sports that we see across the country. I believe in girls' sports. I believe in women's sports. I'm the proud father of two daughters who are both athletes. I think participating in competitive sports is a wonderful thing for a young girl. I think it is a wonderful thing for a woman. And I think, unfortunately, today's Democrat Party has decided that women's sports and girls' sports no longer matters, and they're willing to push radical legislation designed to destroy girls' sports and women's sports. Ms. Gaines, I want to thank you for your courage. You are relatively young, but you have demonstrated incredible courage. And because you have dared to speak up, you have been demonized, you have been vilified. I saw when you were attacked by a leftist mob at San Francisco State University for daring to speak up. You had an incredible record as a swimmer at the University of Kentucky. You were a two-time NCAA All-American. You were a five-time SEC champion. You're an SEC record holder and a two-time Olympic trial qualifier. But yet on March 27th, 2022, something changed. What happened on March 17th, 2022?
That's when Thomas and I raced in the 200 freestyle and again resulted in a tie.
And so you tied. What was the consequence of tying?
We went behind the awards podium where typically you're handed your trophy, you're marched out, you're named an All-American. And so we go back there, and the official looks at both Thomas and myself and says, "Great job, but you guys tied. And we only have one trophy, therefore we're giving this trophy to Leah." And I question this, and I say, why? And at first, I shortened it in my testimony, but really he stumbled on his words. He didn't know how to answer this. And at first he's, well, we're just doing this in chronological order. To which I further pressed, and I said, okay, well, what are you being chronological about? Because we tied. And if we're doing this off alphabetical order, G comes before T. So what are you being chronological about? To which this wasn't a script they had prepared for him. And he actually appreciated his honesty. He did say, we have to give the trophy for Leah because Leah has to have it for pictures. They've made that clear. Leah has to have the trophy for pictures. You can pose with this trophy, but you have to give yours back. You have to go home empty-handed. Leah Thomas takes the trophy home. End of story.
Now, let me ask you, as someone who's competed at the elite level, in your experience, is there a difference between women and men?
Of course. I think we learned this at a very young age, watching even 12 and unders play. Going through puberty causes irreversible advantage, that no matter the training, no matter the diet, no matter any alterable change you can make, will overcome that male advantage. Especially in sports like swimming, where lung capacity matters so much. Even something as silly as throat size, men have on average a 40% larger throat, which sounds like it's nothing. But when you're grasping for air, that 40% larger throat makes a huge difference in athletic success, not to mention height. You guys know the differences.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women...
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
What I can say is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition happened,
I'm going to try again.
The rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes-no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is that a yes? So I'm trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're not answering that. Let me ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is different than gender.
Why
and I do believe that women's sports have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right now.
Ms. Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But why have a separate category for women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the last decade.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record an article from Duke Law called Comparing Athletic Performances for the Best Elite Women to Boys and Men. And it goes through examining in 2017 the top records for women in the world in various track and field events. So, for example, in the 100-meter, the top record for women in the world was 10.71 seconds. Now, that record for the number one woman in the world in 2017 was, in the year 2017, broken by 124 boys under 18. In that same year, the record for the number one competing woman in the 100-meter dash in the world was broken by a total of 2,474 men. If the radical Democrat agenda to destroy...
Thank you, Senator Rono. And now, Senator Blackburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations to each of you on your nomination. Judge Alicorn, I want to come to you. Some remarks you made when you were Solicitor General in D.C. to the American Constitution Society event. And you said, and I'm going to quote you through this, that it was in your job you try to carry out and live some of the values of ACS. And here's a portion of the mission statement for ACS, and this is off of their website. It states that ACS mission includes redressing the founding failures of our Constitution and enduring inequities in our laws in pursuit of realized equality. So, in your role as both an advocate and now as a judge, do you subscribe to that part of the mission statement, and what do you see as the enduring inequities in the laws that need to be redressed?
Senator, when I said as Solicitor General that I carry out the values of ACS, it was the values of mentorship and discussion and vibrant discussion and debate.
So then you don't agree with what is on their website? So here's another part for you. It also notes on their website that its goal is to promote laws and policies that advance realized equality. So what laws and policy are you trying to promote? And then is this part of what you're trying to carry out? Is it activism as a judge that you're seeking? So as a federal judge, what would that look like if you're trying to live this out, if you're trying to carry it out, if you're trying to change those laws?
Senator, as a judge, it is not the role to change laws. It is to interpret and apply the laws that this body passes.
Well, in your comments, that's what you said. I'm quoting you, back to you. So how would you advance realized equality from the bench?
Senator, in my current role, I take the law and I apply it to the facts and cases before me. That is what I would do if I were fortunate enough to be confirmed.
Okay, so how would you fulfill your duty to neutrally apply the law of people that are coming before you? So describe to me your method of statutory or constitutional interpretation. How would you carry that out?
Absolutely, Senator. When I am confronted with a statutory or constitutional interpretation case, I take my cues from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has instructed in statutory interpretation cases, you first must look at the text, and if the text is unambiguous...
Okay, so what is your understanding of original public meaning?
My understanding of original public meaning is that it is a tool of constitutional interpretation that the Supreme Court has used in interpreting the Second Amendment and the Confrontation Clause, and I would faithfully apply the Supreme Court's mechanisms for interpreting.
Original public meaning seeks an understanding of the statute as it would have been understood by the general public at the time of passage. Okay, let me move on with you for something else. Your previous nominations process, you answered several questions for the record indicating your views on when nationwide injunctions are appropriate. So can you point to any provision of the Constitution or federal law that expressly permits a single district judge to grant relief that is binding on the entire nation? Give me one.
The All Writs Act and Rule 65 and judicial precedents do not foreclose a district judge from entering relief that is beyond the geographical boundaries, but it should be, and as an all injunctive relief, sparingly used because it's a drastic remedy.
But it is appropriate that neither the Constitution nor any federal statute explicitly authorizes district judges